So, without further ado, we're going to start off with our first recipe. We're doing it's kind of like a take on a baba ganoush or like a roasted eggplant dip. And we're changing it up a little bit. We're adding a few different ingredients, but very, very simple. It's a nice one you can do ahead of time. You can store it in the fridge, and like we said, whenever you need it, you can take it with you to work, lunch, school. So, starting off with an eggplant. Now, this is a smaller eggplant. You can get the bigger ones that'll just make more. They're both Italian-style eggplants. I like using these ones. There's not as many seeds. You get a little bit more pulp and flesh for the dip. But this will technically work with any eggplant. So, you can try a few different types of eggplants if you want. So I'm just going to wash it really well, slice it in half. And you can roast these whole as well. The reason I slice them in half is because I'm adding a little bit of some spices and some seasoning. And I'm able to score it like that with a knife, and I can get that spice and that seasoning and that right in there, so that we just try to penetrate with as much flavor as possible. So we're going to score it with a knife, about a 1/4 inch deep. You don't want to go all the way through, and then whatever seasoning you want. I've got a nice little mixture of ground cumin and ground coriander, which works really, really well with eggplant, but you can use even like dried mint, dried basil will work really nice. So a little bit of that on top, just a pinch of salt, and just a little drizzle of olive oil. And what you want to do at that point is just push the seasoning, those spices and the olive oil and that salt into those scores that you just made in the eggplant. That's it. That's all you got to do. Really, really simple. That's going to go face down on a baking sheet lined with parchment. And we're going to add a couple more ingredients on there as well. Some garlic. And I'm going to leave the skins on. I'm just going to cut it in half like that. And that's going to go on top of there. You don't need all of this wrap. It's making a mess now. So that's going to go on there. That's going to roast. And we have some really nice cherry tomatoes that was picked for me, I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? These are from our own garden, so we got to use these guys. And we're going to throw these on there too. So we're just going to cut them in half. And because we're using a very low heat, we're roasting these at about 350. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you're going to get this amazing, almost like a sun-dried tomato effect with these tomatoes, and it's going to bring out this incredible flavor, almost sweet, and the texture is going to be really nice as well. So just cut them in half. If they're really big tomatoes, just slice them into thin slices. Let's throw all those on there as well. And I'm just adding a little pinch of salt. I'm not going to add any oil to that because there's going to be a lot of moisture that I want actually out of the tomatoes to dry them.
And that salt will help to dry out some of the natural liquids that are in the fruit.
Exactly.
And the veggies.
So that's going to go into the oven, 350 for about 35, 40 minutes. Push the eggplant just until it's soft. If it's pretty soft, then you know it's finished. On the bigger eggplants, it take a little bit longer time. So that's going to go in, and it'll look, or the eggplant anyways, will look like this when you're finished. So you can see how soft it is. You want to be able to scoop out the flesh. So with that, we're going to add the tomatoes. This is what they look like when they're dried. Really, really nice. You can use this in salads, pasta dishes. Really good for this dip. We're going to add a little bit of goat cheese as well. And it's nice to mix in the goat cheese while the eggplant's still warm because it melts in there. If you don't like goat cheese, you can use a different type of cheese, or you can use Greek yogurt. It's really nice. Try to use a thicker yogurt because if it's too watery, you're going to get this really kind of soupy eggplant dip, which isn't too appetizing. But they have some really nice Greek yogurts that are a little bit on the thicker side you can find. And some pine nuts and some parsley. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that together.
And the health benefits of eggplant are very substantial. So in this recipe, Jeremy's going to restuff the skins of eggplant. And I want everybody to make sure that they enjoy the skins because this is where some of the plant chemicals or antioxidants that help to fight off potentially cancer, heart disease, and also protect from type 2 diabetes as well. So there's actually a compound that's within the flesh that Jeremy's taking out that's going to be within the dip, and that is called chlorogenic acid. And that is one of the most powerful antioxidants that we know about. And it does a number of things. So it helps to basically lower your LDL levels. And LDL is that lousy or bad type of cholesterol that we want to keep on the low side, because the higher your LDL is, the higher your risk of heart disease and stroke. And in plant and animal studies, they've looked at isolating this chlorogenic acid from the eggplant, and they've seen that it prevents cancer cells from growing and also halts tumor growth as well. So some very exciting elements in eggplant. It's also quite low in calories, and that beautiful purple color hints at some of the plant chemicals that are within that skin. So anthocyanins are the ones that we see in blueberries, wine as well, so in grape skins, and that same component is also in these eggplants as well. So that's why we're always encouraging people to choose a variety of colors when you're choosing your fruits and vegetables. So getting some purple into your diet is very important.
Now I'm just using a fork to mash this up. You can use a food processor. It depends on the texture of the dip that you like. With the fork, you're going to have it's going to be a little bit chunkier. I find with the food processor, it's a little too smooth. So it really depends on your preference. I also try to limit the amount of equipment and dishes that I need to wash. So if I can do it by hand, then I will. And that's it. So I'm just going to mash it up just until it looks like that. I've added some parsley, a little bit of the lemon juice, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some of these oven-dried tomatoes. Mix that through. Now, like Christy said, if you're going to keep, it's really nice. I mean, this is good as is. It's ready to go. You know, season it to taste. But if you keep the skins intact, I was rushing these, so I don't know if you saw, but I tore them to shreds. But if you're gentle with it and you keep the skins intact, what's nice is actually taking that eggplant dip and restuffing it back into the eggplant there. And you can even, if you wanted to top it with a little more cheese or something, and you throw it back in under the broiler to get a really nice crispy golden brown on the outside. And it's a delicious little kind of meal on its own. And you can top it with a few of those pine nuts.
And Jeremy's right, you have a protein source if you're adding some of the goat cheese to it, or the Greek yogurt is quite an excellent source of protein. A little bit of pine nuts or whatever nuts you enjoy as well. And this is a great dip. You know, you can use the skin like we talked about, or serve it with some pita or other bread that you enjoy, a few cucumber slices, and use it as a vessel to get more vegetables.
That's it. You know, really, really simple, really nice, tasty take on an eggplant dip. So that's our first.
Snack number one.
Snack number one. Ah.